Well, let's see. Has it started yet? Waiting for the computer. There, it looks like we're starting. Well, let's see. Can everybody see me? There's Matthew. Hey, Matthew. Looks like we got 13 on so far today. That makes me happy. What's everybody drinking? I've got me it's a Belgian cream ale, they call it. It's out of the Granville Brewing. And Miss Kitty's on there. Hey, there's Dennis. Well, I'm glad everybody can hear me. Let me turn the music down a little bit. That's our outro song, the way everybody likes to hear. It's kind of fun stuff, but man, we've had a blast of a couple days, man. I'll tell you what, with going up to Mid-Ohio Power Sports on Saturday. Hot coffee and Bailey's, that's good. Like I say, I'm drinking my my normal beer. Well, not my normal beer, but I'm drinking a beer for the event here tonight. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. I tell you, I had an absolute riot. And Signify's got a Brewdog Hazy Jane Peach IPA. Kitty says, just the coffee part. That's cool. You can drink whatever you like you ride whatever you like. Cheers, everybody.
You're a little pixelated.
Yeah, I see that. I can't help it. Okay. Iron Lady just came in and said I'm a little pixelated, but there's not a whole lot I can do. I did buy a new camera to start doing some of these live streams for to give better quality. Unfortunately, I don't know how to use it yet. It's not that I don't know how to use the camera. I don't know how to set up the OBS, and I've got to learn how to do that. I might do some special stuff with some of the Patreons first to work through me. So, yeah, we got to figure out this stuff. But man, we've had a fun time. I went up to Mid-Ohio Power Sports here over the weekend on Wednesday. On Saturday, and I bought tires from them. I bought the Shinko 700 series, and it took a while for it to come in. There's Dan, Atwater Vanilla, Java Porter. Excellent, man, excellent. But let's see, it's better now. Yeah, well, it's hard to say. Like I said, I don't know if I got a good strong signal or not. Anyway, everything's got to go through the computer stuff. But I went up there because I wanted the tires put on, and I made a video that'll be out in the next probably next week or so. About the tires and how to put them on. I put on a lot of tires in my life, and I didn't realize how wrong I was in a lot of stuff. So we actually filmed it. And it's one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to show our tech actually putting the tires on, and I learned something, which, like I said, I've been putting out tires on motorcycles for 40 some plus years, and I learned some stuff, and we're going to find that out in a future video. But while I was up there, I was talking to the owner, Dave, and he's really great people up there, just like Throttle Company, really great people over there as well too. We try to keep all of our Royal Enfield and all the dealerships, Harley and everything else, all happy because we love all motorcycles. But Dave said, he goes, hey, I've got a Continental GT, and I've heard you talk about wanting to ride that for forever. And yep, we brought one home, and I'll tell you what, I made not a first impressions. I made I kind of like just my first feelings. I'm going to do another first impressions video later, but Terry Barton's on there, says hi from Southeast Missouri, and Tom's on here from Manchester, New Jersey. Greetings, guys. Cheers. But we rode that Continental GT home, and I actually coined the term for the next video coming out, calling it a time machine. Because I'll tell you what, guys, that thing is a blast to ride. It's quick. It's not super fast, but it's quick. And I think that's even more important than fast, if you want my honest opinion. I like motorcycles that are a little quick, which means they handle well, they're easy on the throttle, and you're going to see a pretty interesting video on it. And like I said, I'm calling it a time machine because it reminds me of my old, especially the Nortons that I used to have. And I don't want to give away too much of this video that'll be out on Wednesday, but I'll tell you what, it is just an amazing, fun riding motorcycle. And the place at Mount Vernon there, Mid-Ohio Power Sports, is about 45 minutes away from us. So it gave me an opportunity to ride the bike in city, of Mount Vernon, which is not a big city. I see Scooter's on. Hey, Thor's on. Hey guys, how you doing? And it's cool. I'm going to drink a little bit more. But we really did enjoy having that. It's one of the motorcycles I really, really wanted to ride, even more so than the Interceptor, simply because the Interceptor is a great-looking motorcycle. I've been on one before, but the Continental is the one that I really wanted to ride because I have a lot more experience with the old true British bikes than I do with anything else, as far as except for the cruiser style and ADV style. Donna says, just saw the Royal Enfield will launch a Super Meteor 650. Again, we don't even have the 350 Classic yet, but it's hard to say if and when we do get this stuff. I've told you this 1,000 times, guys. I don't really have any official ties to Royal Enfield, so I don't get any really deep inside information because they don't really want that stuff out. I mean, it'd be like releasing the plot or the of a movie. You just don't really want to let that out yet. So they keep that stuff pretty close to the chest there, or the vest. And so they don't really want to tell people a lot of what's going on because there might be some delays in shipment, and you know how people are. People are people. But Dennis says, you're the kind, it's kind of like British bikes of yore. And that's really, the video that I'm actually making, I'm going to give you the title, it's called the GT Time Machine, because it really reminded me of riding my old Triumphs and my Nortons. The clip-on bars are a little bit more forgiving than what I had. The mid rears, I don't want to call them rear, they're not like a sport bike, but they're like more of a mid rear pegs. They fit me fine, which surprised me because I'm over 6 foot tall. And I was wondering how far my knees were going to be bent. Now, Iron Lady got on the bike today, and she was not, that's not for her. She doesn't like the feeling that she has to lean so far. I didn't think I had to lean that far forward on it, simply because my arms are a lot longer. And so, I mean, I was really comfortable, actually. I always tell people I don't really know if I would want to take it on an extremely long distance trip. However, I rode over 12,000 miles on one trip on a Sportster, so who knows? But then I was a lot younger then too. Dennis says it's kind of, I miss my Triumph that I used to have. What'd you have, Dennis? What kind of Triumph? I had a T100 and a Speedmaster, and I really, really enjoyed them. I had a Thunderbird for a short period of time, and we got I only had it for like basically a couple weeks, and I sold it right away. Nothing wrong with it, just had to write. Back in those days, I would buy and sell a lot more motorcycles than I do now. Basically, in fact, I met a guy who's probably a T120, a guy that was probably similar to me, except he was a little bit older. That he literally buys 2 or 3 motorcycles, brand new ones a year. I can't do that. I can't do new motorcycles, but he buys them, rides them, and then trades them back in, which is kind of cool if you can afford to do it. I mean, it is what it is. It's a hobby of his. And in fact, the motorcycle that I'm riding is a 2020 Continental GT that used to be his. I actually met the guy up there. He traded it in on, I can't remember, either a Honda or a Suzuki, something like that. Let's see. Tom says, check out Norton Meetup, Washington Crossing, April 24th. Probably with the way things are, there's no way I can go anywhere right now. You guys know I'm going to Savannah, Georgia here in a couple weeks, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And there'll be a couple videos, and we're going to be doing some live takes from down there too. So, and I'll be announcing that on the Patreon and also the membership. And we got this new Subscribe Star too. Some people don't like Patreon, but they do like this new Subscribe Star. So we put up we're not being supported there yet, but we put something up there just to see if there's people who would be interested in it. Signify says, that's comfortable minus my hands and wrists, not terrible. I wouldn't want to ride it long distances. Again, it's not that. I did feel a little bit of, I have arthritis in my hands because I'm old and stuff, but I did feel a little bit in my thumb, but that really didn't bother me. The only thing I didn't like about that motorcycle, to be perfectly honest with you, is they had aftermarket grips on it, and you could tell the guy didn't wear gloves because they were so slippery with gloves on. And no, that's not for me. Dennis says, 79 Bonnie that I rode from California to South Carolina. I'll tell you, man, those long distance rides, I used to do all the time. And I always tell people, man, I've been out to California, up in Canada, Mexico, and the reason why, down to Florida, I don't know how many times, but the reason why that I always kind of, and lately I've been kind of like talking about it more of my very first trip when I turned 18 in the middle of the trip, but I started when I was 17, is when I rode from where we live there in Northeast Ohio down to Orlando and then out to Santa Barbara County and then up to Anchorage and then back home. It was over 12,000 miles in about 3.5 weeks. And went out there and just had a blast, visited a lot of family and friends and stuff like that. We have a lot of family in California, and I had a friend up in Alaska, and a lot of family still in Florida as well too. I guess I'm the only dumb Yankee that's still in the cold land up here, so it is what it is. But man, we've got what, 30 watching. But I really want people to ask me some questions, because I am a Harley guy and I'm a Royal Enfield guy, and it was my first, I would say it's cafe stylish bike in a long time. And I wouldn't say it's a cafe racer, but it's a cafe style. And I really did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. I mean, there's bikes that I've turned, Japanese bikes into more of a cafe racer back in the day. Some of the Hondas that I used to have, and Suzuki especially, that GS 550, I turned it into a semi-cafe racer as well too. Dennis said the only issue I had was the seat. Felt smaller every 100 miles. Yeah, and that's why you get off and get gas and kind of stretch out. I mean, I did it on, I do it today. I think the longest ride Carrie and I have taken in the last year was probably we did 500 miles, and we had to get off a couple times. Luckily, it's kind of funny. If you ride a Harley, you have to get off and get gas quite a bit, but on a Royal Enfield, you don't. Did it have stock exhaust or was upgraded? No, it was stock. Everything was stock on it. The bike only has 1,100 miles on it. And I don't know what they're selling it for. That's not my part of my game, but you can contact those guys up there because, man, that bike is just cherry. It's got a fly screen in it. You'll see some pictures of it in the video on Wednesday. It's going to be a lot of fun. My Dunlap son said, "What's up?" Just enjoying riding motorcycles, man. I mean, even in the cold. Yesterday when I went up to pick up the motorcycle, it started at 24 degrees, and for some reason, man. Well, I tell you why. I didn't wear my Olympia pants, and I got a little chilly. I get spoiled by that Olympia jacket and my heated gloves and stuff. Man, how's the seat height? Perfect. Jason, you're the same height as me. It is. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. It was really comfortable. That's why I can't wait for you guys to see this video because literally I didn't have many edits in it. I kept it running. I hope it's something. It's kind of unusual because I like to do edits and give some breaks and stuff. But I kept the thing basically running and just switching the camera angles back and forth to let you know exactly how I was feeling from the second I jumped on the bike until my camera battery started to die. It was so cold. I literally went through 6 camera batteries. It was crazy. That for some reason yesterday was. The temperature was exactly right, and there was no. I started right as the sun was coming up, and man, oh man, the GoPros did not like that, and there was no way to hook up the 360 camera because the 360 camera does a lot better in the cold weather, no question about it. Let's see, Dunlap says I'm sitting down at the computer to order some parts to get mine ready to ride. There you go, man. Which bike, my Dunlap? Throw it back in there so we can all remember. Do you know anybody of a good oil filter for the new RE twins? I see online for an OEM is $25. No, to be honest with you, I get my stuff. I buy it out of India, man. Because I literally got oil filters for the Meteor, and I got 5 of them for $25, free shipping. So that's what I would do. Go on eBay. That's where I get the oil filters from eBay, and it seems to be. It takes a little bit of time. And you got to watch who they are. But I got a couple guys that I've been dealing with since I had the Himalayan that I trust. He's got a 2006 lowrider. Doug does. Yeah, cold and batteries don't work well. Not especially on the especially on the GoPros, man. They're terrible. But again, we got 31 people watching. That's great. We really enjoy these. I love doing these live. I like to start doing them once a week. But I want to also maintain my 2 and maybe even increase. But when I go down to Georgia, we're going to actually do a live stream or a live update on Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday on our way back home. And of course, we'll make regular videos out of what we're doing down there as well too. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping. See, I'm getting a little pixelation there on the screen. I'm hoping that signal straightens out here pretty soon because. It is what it is. If I lose you guys, let me know right away if I possibly can, if you lose the picture. But It's computers are computers, and that's basically what it is. But I'm excited because this is what I got to future live stream, and we'll be taking some better pictures with it. I used to have a Nikon that I used to use, but it never was 4K, and this particular camera will enable me to do a lot more in-depth stuff. And I really appreciate this. Like I've told you before, everybody that does stuff with Patreon with me, or the super chats or anything like that, we turn all that money directly back into the channel. We don't take anything out of it. And through my Patreons and some of our great supporters, and you know who you are, we're able to get some better equipment. Some of the stuff I get for free, like the Insta360 I got for free. But as far as this, I think is going to be a game changer for live streams, as long as I know how to work it. Let's see, what's going on in Georgia? I live in Tifton. Let's see, it's been warm. Well, we were invited to the press day for the Classic 350. Now, I don't know when they're going to be in dealers. I have no idea, but I'm going down there to ride the Classic 350 in Savannah, Georgia. See, Tom says, okay, I got Enfield parts from eBay. So far, so good. I'm checking forums to see that they are good alternatives. Subaru filters were mentioned. Like I said, I just get the OEM Enfield. Terry says, are you still planning to do the Trans-America Trail in the Himalayan? If we can, again, the whole thing bases upon money and the environment, because right now gasoline is extremely expensive, and everything's extremely expensive. And you guys, if you've been following the channel, know that we had a tremendous setback with not only the food truck, but the house this last winter. I literally had to buy a new generator just to maintain till I get my old generator in the food truck fixed. And this, I mean, it's money going out, nothing coming in for the last 3 months. And so everything is kind of waiting. It's one of those type of things. If we were rich, there's a lot of these YouTubers that, it's the same thing when I was bass fishing in tournaments. You had the guys who mom and dad or were really rich, or they were, hey, Andy, thank you, man. We've got a nice super chat from Signified there, Andy. Man, we really appreciate it. That means everything. And cheers. Everybody say thanks to Andy for helping out the channel. But long story short, we've had a tremendous amount of expense setbacks, not only with the house, but also the food truck. And of course now it all builds up. But that's life. But like I was mentioning when I was fishing bass tournaments, you'd have these guys that would come out that mom and dad were really rich, and they just say, hey, kids, go out and do your bass fishing. Where guys like us would have to struggle to we had a full-time job, and then we go to, we take off a couple weeks and go for fishing, on vacation, trying to win money. And I did pretty good doing it, but it's one of those type of things that you just, this stuff takes money to do. And we're not rich folks. We're just hillbillies out here in the country. And that's exactly, that's my lot in life. And I'm not complaining about it. It's just what it is. But I just can't do everything that everybody wants me to do right away. Like, I get a kick out of people all the time saying, well, you need to ride this. Well, if I can't get a hold of one, I'm just lucky that I have relationships with what I do, and they're building. And that's important. Again, we've only been doing this channel like not even 2 years yet. And so we're really, really, really trying to build the channel. And the more we be able to do, the more we're able to increase our income, as far as for like with what Andy's doing is helping. That will actually help a lot, believe it or not, and it'll help the channel grow and do more stuff for you guys, because I love doing this. I love sharing my information, and I also love making videos that are sort of semi-entertaining and hopefully informative. Let's see, I missed a few. Let's see, where did I go here? Let's look at a bunch of it. Terry says he's still okay. That Miss Kitty, that is really good autofocus. Yes, it does. It's got face tracking and stuff. I've used the camera a few times already, but as far as for the video, not yet. Jason says in the Continental cafe version of the yes, it's no, that's a great question, Jason. It is a cafe-ish. I don't want to say cafe style, because in my opinion, you could chop a lot more weight off of that thing. And you could get a little bit more aggressive on I would actually move the pegs back farther to get down lower. I would actually drop the clip-ons to right even with the triple tree. There's a few things that else I would do different. Of course, I'd hop up the engine, get a new exhaust on it, put a different tuner in it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to be a real cafe racer. I'd probably build the engine to over 800 cc's. if I wanted to be a cafe racer. But if you want to have the look of a cafe style racer or cafe racer style, then yeah, it's a great place to start. It really truly is. Scooter says my back can't handle the lean over anymore in cafe style. You know, it's been such a long time since I've been on one that I'm actually trying to get that feel for it. And to be honest with you, I had no problem. Where my problem with my back was lifting that God blessed generator up into the truck. I need 10,000 watts to run it efficiently, and this one that I've got is as big as I can move to get, and I have to pull it up on ramps, and it's a couple hundred pounds, over a couple hundred pounds. And I had to use ramps to roll up, and I literally had to shave the wheels to get it in there. I have a bigger generator for backup for the house. There's no way it'll fit in the truck. Let's see. Donna says we cannot order abroad anymore unless they pay export taxes, a minimum of 25 euro. You've got to be kidding me. Sorry, man. I don't know what to say on that one. Dumb Life says, did you get what you needed for the food truck? Yeah, I mean, it's not fixed yet. It's going to cost me, not only had to buy the generator or I'd be out of business again for another month or so, but I bought the other generator and I'm able to pull it in. It runs the basic stuff. I can run my fan. I can run my lights in my refrigerators and freezers. So that'll work. That'll be really well. It's right at the minimum, though. I mean, that generator's busting its little butt, though, man. You can tell when I turn that big exhaust fan in to get all the exhaust out from the fryers and the stove and everything else. It just bogs. The RPM goes up. Sounds like you're running a Honda, way up there. Miss Kitty says, "Woohoo! Yeah, that's great." Richard says, "Thanks to Andy. We really appreciate it." Chad, cheers. Everybody, cheers to Andy for helping us out there. Let's see if I missed anything else. I know you just picked up the new bike, but out of the 3 Enfields you have, which is your favorite? I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to wait for your answer before I answer, Matthew. Do you have any children? I really want to know this. And then we'll wait for his answer. Because, now I'll just tell you all ahead of time. That's like saying, which is your favorite child? Each one is different. And I think that's the best part of it. He says, "God, it really, and that's really, the Himalayan does what it does. The Meteor does what it does. The Continental GT, of all 3, the Continental GT is the toy. I mean, it really is. And again, I only have it for a couple, well, I'm not sure exactly. I had to leave the Himalayan up there. So I'm gonna just ride as long as I am, able to make enough videos, and I'll go back up and pick up my Himalayan. They really liked the way I had a Himalayan set up, that's for darn sure." Matt says, "Hi there. Like your stuff on Meteor as I got one myself." Excellent, Matt, and congratulations. Everybody say congratulations to Matt there. Matt T, I guess is what his name there on the screen. Everybody says welcome, and we really appreciate you being here. But my first impressions on the Continental GT is, it is a blast, and it really, again, it's like a time machine. It reminds me of how I used to ride back in the day. And in my video, and I don't want to give too much away about the video because I've just finished editing it, but excuse me, it literally made me feel like 40 years ago, and that's something for a motorcycle. The Meteor makes me feel that way, and the Himalayan gave me the smiles. The GT, I mean, it's just fun. It's probably the least practical of all the motorcycles I have, though, as far as right now. And again, I don't own it. It belongs to Mid-Ohio Power Sports, and it is 2 years old. Let's see. Again, Donna says, "I have solar panels on my camp." Again, Donna, I need 10,000 watts startup power with 78 or 8,500 watts to run constantly. The batteries would outweigh the truck. I mean, it would be nearly impossible. It's like running a commercial kitchen. They're a lot different than having a freezer or a refrigerator in your camper or in your house even. They pull a tremendous amount of power, and that's why you need these big generators. Now, there's some, and that's why, but to be a food truck in Ohio, you have to have commercial stuff, or they won't. A lot of guys just carry coolers, and the state frowns on that, but it is legal. But the whole idea is they have commissaries. I do everything in the truck. In other words, like right now, it's plugged into 220 in the side of my garage where I keep the motorcycles. So I mean, I need 220 volt, and there are places that I go that have power, but I need 50 amp, 220 or 240 volts to run the food truck. Let's see. see, what do you call it? Tom says, good luck. Dennis says, with twice the engine, the GT should give you twice the smiles. And I wouldn't say that. And the reason why I wouldn't say that, looks like we froze a little bit there. Okay, it's back. The reason why I wouldn't say that is because it's completely different. The engine size, and I mentioned this in this video. Man, I want to make sure, of course, we got 32 people watching, but I want to make sure everybody goes and watches this video on Wednesday, because I think it should, hopefully it'll be a big video. But what I try to say to people is, why it brings me back is, if you've ridden any modern sport bikes, something in the 1,000 cc's or 1,200 cc's or way above, or even some of the Ninja 600s or 650s, a true sports bike, they've got a tremendous amount of power, horsepower, which means they really, you can't ride it to its potential because it becomes too dangerous. They're so light and so powerful that if you try to get into a corner, you're gonna overwhelm or overpower your abilities. And not all of us are road racers. You have to understand that. And a lot of guys think they are, but they really are not. And that's why you see a lot of, when I was talking to different dealers, and they say most sport bikes, they avoid buying used sport bikes because almost every one of them has gone down at least 3 or 4 times. And that, I mean, if the ones that haven't, it makes you wonder, truly what's going on. And a lot of times, another reason why it's hard or shouldn't buy a used sport bike is because, guys out there doing wheelies all the time. Well, their engines are meant to run like this, not like this, and they oil starve, and it actually tears the engines up, and the life goes way down. Most people won't talk about that. There's no way I'd ever buy like a Dyna Bros Dyna unless I could get it for like 150, 200 bucks, because those engines, particularly Harley Davidson, get oil starved easily. And anybody that's doing wheelies, what are you, 3? Anyway, let's see what we got here. Blaine says, congratulations to Matt. So does Miss Kitty. Doesn't the 650 sound sweet? It does, but it could sound better with some S&S pipes on it. Tom says, your quality definitely in and out. You just froze. I know. I don't know what it is. At least on my end for a minute. Cheers from Germany. Matt says that late night now. I like the YouTube channel. Thank you, Matt. We really appreciate you. Terry says, I understand I'm being short on money. I'm currently without a bike, looking for a second job to get one. Love to get a Himalayan someday. They're fantastic. There was a guy that actually bought one. Well, Blaine's still on here. Blaine just bought a Meteor up there and he came out to the food truck. First time I ever met him. He lives fairly close to me. It made me happy that he came out. I love seeing people that watch the channel come to the food truck. Dennis says he's just saying that because there's nothing like English twins. Yeah, I mean, they are what they are. I mean, it's the old, basically the Enfields for the single cylinder thump, 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 thump. That is awesome. And the old Enfields when they were in Britain were the twins as well too. And of course you've got the Triumph and everything else and the BSAs and things. Well, BSA had some singles too. Thor says, when you maintenance your batteries on your bike, you do not use, let me see if I can read this right. When you maintenance your batteries on your bike, you not use, I don't know if it's regulator, do you set up your charger on your bike? It snows. I've lost in translation there, Thor. I'm sorry. Me and my friend did not read the manual. Yeah, you have to read the manual. You really, if you're putting a new battery in, you make sure you have the right charger or trickle charger, not a full charger. I guess, I don't know really what he's trying to say there, but maybe you can come back with a little bit different. Dunlap says, my Dyna I bought last year was completely stock and under 7,000 miles. Then you got a great deal. Is it everybody loves the street, what do you call it? Nobody likes the wide glass, I'm trying to say. I don't know which one you got. Which Dyna was it, my Dunlap? But, yeah, we got 33 watching now. Any other questions on the Continental GT? Like I mentioned before, it's an amazing bike. I'm calling it my time machine because it really brings me back to back when I started riding back in the 70s and early 80s on those style of bikes. Matthew says, when will you have your food truck out again? I'll be out Wednesday at the Homestead Brewery in Heath, Ohio. And then on Thursday, I'll be at Granville Brewery in Granville, Ohio. And of course, on Friday, I'll be at, what's the name of the place? Let me think. Stonecrest Winery in Fraserburg, Ohio. Let's see. Well, Matt, if you're around the area, come on out. Those are the places we'll be. And always, if you guys are curious, let me type in the name of where you want to look at. It would be I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. Go there and look at the calendar, and that'll tell you where we'll be. It's up there every. What you do is it'll take you to a little icon of my food truck, and you push the button, and it'll take you to my calendar. I haven't heard louder cans that sound as pretty as the stock ones. They're quiet. Have you heard the S&S ones? They're the ones that they put on the race bikes for Royal Enfield. Donna says now you have to try the Interceptor. Yeah, I've already ridden the Interceptor, Donna. I didn't do a video on it. I only had it for a short 10-minute ride, and I will never do a video on a 10-minute ride because it doesn't do any good. Like I said, this first impressions that I'm talking about, it really even wasn't a first impression. It was 45 minutes, 45 mile, or maybe not quite that, maybe 40-mile ride. But again, it's one of those type of things that. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. It's one of those type of things that I need to have time on a bike before I talk too much about it. And my first thoughts on it are, and again, we'll be doing a true first impressions probably in the next 2 weeks or so. It may take a while to come out because I'm not going to put them boom 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 boom. I'm going to split other stuff in there with it. But excuse me. I think basically, I want to make sure that I give a full idea of what I think, and then I will never do a review on it yet, but I'll do a first impressions because you guys know, and I'll put a question out there. How many miles do I have to have on a motorcycle before I do a review? Anybody remember? Put it down here in the chat. Let's see. Congrats, and you will love it. I have had mine 2.5 years and love every minute of it. I have the S&S race only pipes with the baffles out, and it sounds great. Peter, welcome, and I'm glad you put that on there because those would be the ones. I'm thinking Vance and Hines has a set now too. Tom says I put AEWP shooters on my Interceptor, remove the baffles, DB killers. Sounds effing amazing. Again, loud pipes save lives, baby. Again, you're talking to a guy who has 5-6 Harleys upstairs in the garage, and every one of them is. That's all. We actually bought a Speedmaster, and this is what the Meteor is taking its place for right now, is because sometimes Carrie and I like to go to some really cool, state parks and stuff. We want to be quiet, and so we bought the Speedmaster for that, and it just didn't work out for us, so we got rid of it. But the Meteor is what we use for trying to be quiet in some of these places, and that's really, really cool. Donna says 1,000 miles. Let's see, S&S are great, but I went with the AEW, which are a couple hundred less and sound as good. Scooter says, is that link correct? Make sure I look at it, make sure I didn't mistype. Oh, nope. See what I tell you? My LITTEN. It's my little kitchen, cbus.com. Sorry, guys. Fat fingers. This is what happens when I text on phone. I hate texting. Anybody that has my number knows that I hate to text. You call me, I'll be cool, but not texting because these fat thumbs and these big, fat, ugly fingers don't do well on those little tiny screens. Let's see. Thor says a little bad on English. Sorry. You know that MC battery chargers for bikes who have extended cable out from the battery. Well, what I do, I know, Thor. I'll try to do the best. I use the battery tender, and then it make sure that it's got a fuse in it, so in case you get a power spike, it doesn't pop your battery. But then I use the tender. Every bike, the first thing I put when the Meteor became ours, the first thing I did was put a battery tender cable on it. It's natural for me. Because that way I can, when you got 7 motorcycles up in your garage, you can't ride them all at one time, and sometimes they sit for a while. I want to make sure that battery is in good shape. Peter says, I also put a center stand on mine for easy chain and back wheel. Took only 10 minutes. Now, as far as that, you're talking about the Continental, the one that I have, they may have done. I don't know if it comes stock with it or not. This one has it on there too, and I like to use the center stand a lot myself. Pretty much all the Hondas and everything else that I had. Let's see, the Nortons did not, but that's because I took them off. No, the Triumph didn't either when I got it. Old guys in tech. I know, right? I am a boomer, for God's sake. I know, right? But yeah, as far as technology, I'm just lucky I can do what I can do with the YouTube here. You know what I mean? The YouTube. See what I did there? Because I'm an old guy. But if you have any more questions, like I say, please ask. Like I say, it can be on other stuff as well too. It could be on the Meteor, could be on the Harleys, some of the other old motorcycles that I had over the years. Matthew says, "I work in IT. You're doing great. Trust me." Well, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. The only colleges that I ever attended, I had associate's degree, believe it or not, in electrical engineering, and I don't even use it. But I can wire houses. I just have to get it inspected. And the other thing I did, I went part-time and tried to get some business education to a local college at night, but I never finished. So it is what it is. Dunn says, I have a Harley 1. I have the Harley 1. It gets back to the tender every couple hours, cooling down. I also have an adapter that lets me plug it in and run 12-volt cold cell. And that's basically, I carry, when I'm running the Harleys, that doesn't have like a built-in USB port, I carry the little battery tender USB attachment you can stick in there, and then you can charge batteries or whatever you want to do. It really is a great addition to it. I love that. I've been using battery tender juniors since they came out, and I love the fact that they only do 750 milliamps and they just float. Now the one because I have a lithium iron battery in the Himalayan now, and they do make their own. It's 800 milliamps. And I really, I mean, that's the only one I have for the lithium ion. But I had a question on my comment, on one of the comments today on one of the old videos that asked me about that. And I love that battery. It's never failed me. Like I told you before, during the heart of the really cold weather we had here this year, the only two motorcycles that started were the Meteor and the Himalayan. And the funny part about it is that was before we actually owned the Meteor, and there was no battery tender on it, and that son of a gun started every frickin' time I popped the switch. So I was really tickled with that. Let's see. Dunlap says, okay, Miss Kitty, if you had to choose, what would you get, a 22 Himalayan or a 21 with a color you like better? With the Himalayan, I really don't care about the little tripper thing, because I'm going to be using a regular GPS on it, and I'll put the Enfield accessories thing. So I would want one that doesn't have that little bubble on the outside, because it's unnecessary for me. I think I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I know what they do it for. It's not for me. It's great on the Meteor, but as far as for the Himalayan, I don't think it's that big a deal. And that would be the only difference. Other than that, I don't know. I'm happy with my 2018, to be honest with you. But if as far as the color, I like black. This blue color that I've got, if you've seen pictures, the bike that's on the thumbnail of this is basically with the same color as the bike I've got. And you'll see the video. You'll actually see the bike in the video coming up, because when I got home, I went up and did some B-roll and show the bike that I intermittently put in there. I show the rear mid controls. I show the clip-ons. I show the paint scheme, and the thing's mint condition. Show the fly screen. It's on it. It's just really, it's a cool motorcycle. However, if I was going to order a Continental GT, it would be the black, just because I like it. Let's see. So I don't know if that helped you any, Kitty, or not. There's a Snow White that I like. You know what? Speaking of which, when you just mentioned Snow White, the Classic 350 has a white color. Man, is that thing sharp. Iron Lady loves white bikes too. And I don't know if she's still on here or not. She's doing other stuff with Rusty, our pup. So Peter says he originally put a single seat on, but have gone back to the original seat with the new cowl on. I think it looks better because I have both now. I can sweat. Hey, there you go. It's always good to have extra stuff. Carl says, have you done a video on checking adjustment valve clearance on the Himalayan? And this question comes up nearly every day. And I have not. And I've mentioned it in a couple of my other live streams. And here's the reason why. I don't know you guys personally. I don't know what your level of mechanical ability is. The last thing in the world I want to do, I'll do some basic maintenance that they show in the manual as far as the owner's manual, but it's when it comes down to technical stuff where you could do catastrophic damage to your engine, I've chosen not to do that. Basically, I I just don't want to do it. And the reason why I don't want to do it is because I'm afraid somebody that maybe, you know, for example, the tolerances, if you watch that video about the oil change or the oil at different motorcycle brands that we did here last week, you'll see that Royal Enfield was the cleanest of all the first oil change motors, which means that they really take care of what they're doing at the factory. Well, that means that the tolerances are very, very tight in the Royal Enfield assembly line. They really are. They need to be exact. And if you're not checking the valve clearance with the exact feeler gauges, you could cause catastrophic damage. And that's why I've actually talked to several different people. I've actually talked to Royal Enfield about it, and I decided not to do that. Simply because if it's just something simple like an oil change or some chain maintenance, I'll show you some stuff on it. But I'm really afraid with these newer bikes that people are going to try to, instead of doing that the first 300-mile checkup, they're going to try to do it themselves and end up with blown engines. And they'll say, well, Ol Man Ronin said if you do it this way, you can get her done good, dear. No, we're not doing that. And that's the reason why, Carl. I know that sounds terrible. Well, I do it myself, and I've already done it a couple of times on the Himalayan. And I actually filmed one of them and I said delete, and I got rid of all the film. So let's see. Mohammed says, hey, welcome, Mohammed. We really appreciate it. Cheers and welcome. RE Twins are a very good engine, and so do the 350 Meteor and the Classic, right? With the fuel coming costly every day, it feels better to stick to lower capacity bike. You know, and I'm going to get back to something I was talking about earlier. And I kind of got, you know, being old and stuff, I kind of drift off into the train of thought. You know, I have a bunch of switches on my track. And so once in a while, boop, 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 boop. Anyways, what I decided to do, or what I wanted to talk about is one of the things that the 650 GT, the Continental, did that I thought was phenomenal was it gives me the ability, and I was riding it, my camera batteries were dead in some of the curvy roads that were coming into my house. And man, I was getting down, even though it was cold weather, and I was watching those tires, because cold tires are not good as far as for traction. And so I was getting down in some corners. You know, it wasn't scraping the pegs. I didn't want to do that, but I was really getting down in it. And I was thinking to myself, man, this bike is so forgiving. You can get in there and have that fun of getting great lean angles without worrying about, you know, riding above your ability. And I thought that was probably the biggest thing that made me impressed with this bike. You know, I jumped on some Ninjas a while back, and an R1, and I was really getting aggressive with it before I had my channel. And I mean, it's one of those type of things. I still love to do that stuff occasionally. But the reality of it is, those things are hyper powerful, and you can get yourself really in trouble really quick. Whereas I still like to do it, but the 650 GT so far, gave me the ability to do these things, but safer. Does that make sense? I hope so. Carl says, understood, thank you. Scooter says, I have to do my first oil change and valve check on Himalayan. I'll keep hearing about the bolts in the tank. What do you need to look out for? Well, I do have 2 videos showing me taking the tank off, because I don't think that's the critical thing. The problem most people have is now I did this the 3rd time I took off a tank and didn't film it. But when you pull the tank off, you got the 2. Make sure there's 2 vacuum hoses. There's the electrical, and then there's the gas valve that you have to pop off underneath there. And then you've got 2 bolts in the back, and you got 2 of these rubber grommets along the frame that you have to pop the tank back down. Most guys aren't getting it done. They're not getting in there and seating that tank in those rubber grommets. That's the biggest problem they make. And then they say the holes don't line up. It feels like it's in there, but it's not. So my suggestion is, this is an old man trick. I hate to say it, it's an old man trick. All y'all out there have wiped your face and felt oil on your fingers. Well, what we used to do, instead of using some kind of chemical oil like petroleum oil, what we did is we just rub our finger along the side of our nose and rub it on those rubber grommets, and it greases right in there. And that's an old man trick, man. I tell you, I know, but I do that on pretty much everything. You know, get a little bit of grease off your nose, off your face. See how much what do you call it? The oils on your skin. You put that on some of those places, and it works a lot easier. I know May be gross to some people, but that's an old man trick, an old mechanic trick. I've done that forever. I don't know if anybody, but I did that on my tank from the very first time. Didn't show it because I thought people would think, oh, it's kind of crazy. But we did it, and man, it just works perfectly. Let's see. Always remember, too tight is two pieces. That's great. I love that. Yeah. Guten tight is gut. Too tight is bad. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Every amateur mechanic's 5-minute job is certified mechanics. Exactly. And that's one of the things I really try to avoid, is doing things that is going to cause you catastrophic damage. I mean, you know, that's what you don't want to do. But as far as the Bolt scooter, if you seat that tank in those grommets up front, you shouldn't have a problem. Also, when you're taking the bolts out, if you notice there's any flashing on the threads, and just run a tap through it, you know, tap and die. You'll be fine. I mean, you know, what I've done, I've noticed all the bolts, like a lot of places with the Himalayan, like when you're trying to put if you don't have them done by your dealer, like if you're trying to put the pannier braces and stuff like that, I always run a tap into the threads and make sure that they're nice and clean, and then I use either Loctite or anti-seize. Or whatever the case may be. Like on the engine, it's always anti-seize. On the frame and everything else, it's always Loctite. Like blue. Red, I don't really use that often unless it's something to do with the steering mechanism. Let's see. Tom's laughing. Patrick, let's see. Every certificate, yep, exactly. Peter says, I was able to source from India, original Continental GT from the old 60s, but that's awesome. Stickers, put them on the rear cowl. That's pretty cool, man. If you're able to find stuff like that, it's amazing. Moto Num Num says, haha, nose grease. I know. But it's true, dude. It really works. Plenty of nose grease. Actually not. I mean, I run a very clean truck. In fact, we got an award from our county here of me having the cleanest kitchen in the entire county. It made me happy. Let's see. Adding a little DNA to the bike makes it yours. There you go. A little blood, sweat, and nose grease. Bike DNA rules. How many of you guys have never heard that? And how many of you have? I guess I want to see that in the chat. That's something I'm curious about, because I mean, I've been doing that my whole life, and guess I'm old, but I know some of you youngers would probably just, what those that? That's kind of disgusting. And so I'm just curious if you ever heard of doing stuff like that. Good lube, baby. Something to remember. Should be ashamed of myself. Well, keep us posted on what you're drinking. Like I say, I'm still finishing up my Belgian cream ale from Granville Brewing here in Granville. Dennis says, I'm too old to have done that forever too. Hey, again, I'm glad. Dennis makes me feel good. I know that I'm not insane. But I mean, my dad did it. My grandpas did it. I mean, my uncles all did it. Yeah, got to lube that up a little bit. There you go. We are old hillbillies by far. Been doing it for years, putting fishing pole together. There you go. Well, there you go. Same kind of thing. If you got a 2-piece fishing pole, you just whoop, thing slides right in there. What can I say? Rub a screwdriver in your pants for success. Second, exactly. You get a metal magnet out of it. Donna says, I have to go because it's late here, 1 a.m. Donna, we really appreciate you, brother. Everything you do for us on Patreon, and of course, as a member, you're both, and that makes me really happy. We really appreciate that. And you have a nice night. And tell Donna, thanks for being a member for our channel, and we really appreciate it. Let's see. Moto Num Num says 9:15. So who's got coffee there? Well, day drinking. We haven't done that for a while. Iron Lady and I want to get out and ride around a little bit here pretty soon. We did the 1-2 up so far. She is not a cold weather rider. She is not a cold weather rider. She doesn't like it at all. Like I said, I had her up there sitting on the Continental, and at times, Iron Lady is a woman of few words. And when she hopped on the Continental, and I had it up on the center stand for her, she hopped up on it, sat down, put her arms away. Nope, just hopped back off. Again, you can't. It's not for everybody, and it's. I would say, Tom says, where everybody watching from? Exactly. Answer Tom there. Where y'all do a shout out where you're from. But it's more of like a sports car. It's not really practical. Does that make sense? Like the Meteor 350 is practical. I would say more so even than the Continental, not the Continental, but the Interceptor. Now, if they come out, and I'm talking about for like. Because the Cruiser is more like your station wagon, whereas the GT is more like a Corvette or a high-end sports car, something like that. So And we're getting some pops in here where they're from Chicago, Australia. Blaine's from Newark. Like I said, he came out to see us in the food truck when we were over there in Granville. Really appreciate that. And Signified, or Andy, he comes out all the time as well too. Dennis says, I'm not keen on cold anymore either. That's why I moved to the land of Gullah food. Gullah, man, Gullah Geechee. I actually have some spice blends that I make that is really associated with that. I love that cuisine, that low country there, the Carolinas. It's just amazing stuff. And we got Thor's from Norway. Miss Kitty's from Albuquerque. And she took a wrong turn and ended up in Albuquerque. Or she said something different. Anyway, but we really do enjoy having almost literally a worldwide channel, and that makes me happy. A lot of these bigger channels that are local, they get maybe a couple people from overseas. As far as we're concerned, and I got a little contest going on in my own head. I look to see where most of the people in the world are watching, and actually, over the last 2 months, Australia has been #1, followed by United States, followed by the UK, and then we've got India. Sometimes India moves to the top. Usually when I'm doing more of a review, then India gets up there pretty high. But as far as the #1 nation the last couple months in a row has been Australia. So congratulations, Australia. We really love our viewers down there, and I'd love to get back down there someday. I haven't been there since the 70s. And I'd like to get back down there someday and do some riding. Tom says, awesome, love to interact with you when I'm watching. And that's why I want to start doing these once a week, but I can't do it yet because I still work with a food truck full time. And people always say, well, you're only working 3 days a week with the food truck, but the 2 of those other days is me actually making this stuff, because we actually make all of our own sauces, spices, blends, and then we also make our own sausage, hot dogs, pastrami, and whatever else I decide on the menu. We hand make all that stuff. We're not your typical food truck, you know what I mean? I want to tell Andy again, thank you for the super chat, and I really do appreciate super chats, super stickers, and of course, when the video is over, if you guys want to come back and say a super thanks, we always offer some stickers if you guys want to donate to us. That way, we'll try to send off some stickers for you as well too. And we got some, I got some pretty cool ones that I made for our Patreons, and I'll show you that I don't just give out. But if you're, oops, that's not the right one. Let's see, where are they? If I can get stuff out of here. They're our official crew sticker, and I hope that comes out in the video pretty good. It's the only one that has the crew label on, and we really like this. This is one of our newest designs, and we really think this is pretty cool. And so we will do something that we'll offer in case anybody here does a super chat or a super sticker. We'll send a couple of these along with you, but you got to make sure you email me your address, because what I'm having problems with is people are doing this stuff and they're not giving me their email or their mailing address. And the best, I don't want it here, but I want you to email it to me, because we don't want anybody what's what I'm saying? We don't want anybody to stalk you. Let's see. Peter says, if you want to look at part that's got, if you want to look the part, get a Bell 500 helmet with a British Helicon split lens. I actually have a couple old style those type of helmets laying around there. I haven't worn them in a while because I can't film with them. But yeah, I have stuff like that, man. I haven't had it for years. You kind of look like an aviator in a way, but I check them out. And exactly what he said. None says I have an Interceptor, but I'm really liking the Continental, but ultimately I want a Super Meteor. And that's one I want to catch if it shows up, which we don't know. If it shows up, I'd love to ride that as well too. I want to see if they do the shotgun version, which is I like it even more. Patrick says, sorry, I came in late. If you already covered this, disregard it. Why the Continental over the Interceptor? Well, again, this is a borrowed bike, Patrick. I've ridden the Interceptor, but I only rode it for 10 minutes. And I will not do a video on a bike that I've ridden that short period of time. I have to ride it. I have to put at least 100 miles on it. I mean, I put 45, 50 miles on the GT just to get it home. So that's why I did just kind of like a first feel for it here. And then, of course, on Wednesday's video, it'll be I'm calling it the time machine, because it makes me feel like I'm back in the 70s and 80s when I was riding Nortons and Triumphs. Excuse me. Nice crew sticker. Thanks, Don, and welcome. I haven't seen you comment before, and we want to welcome Don to the channel as well, too. But again, we're drinking beer, so I'm getting a little burpy. I apologize. But day drinking is what we do. But like I say, if you guys do the super chat or the super sticker. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to mention before it gets too late, because I think it's really, really important. Let's see, where is that email at? Because I think it's kind of fun, which you're going to find here. Let's see, where is it? We actually have to announce the winner of and let's go this route. Let me bring this over here, go to Gmail. Let's see. Where are you? Where are you? Because I can't pronounce the name, I'll actually read it. Where'd it go? I'll have to go to sent mail. Pardon me as I look off the screen here a second, because I think it's really important. I should have had this done. Sent. Okay. All right. His name is, I don't know if I can pronounce it. Oscar, man, I'll just say Oscar B from Colombia. He won the last of the Airmoto giveaways, and we'll be actually showing all 4 of the winners in Wednesday's video. But I wanted to make sure that, guys, if you missed this contest, it was phenomenal. It's the biggest contest we've ran so far, and I'm really excited about that. And like I said, it's our very first international winner for this one. We had 4 other ones, and they've been pretty much all in the U.S. Surprised that, because what we did was, if you're a member of Patreon, and if you're a member of the YouTube channel, and also you're sending the emails, you enter as many times as you want. But if you're a Patreon, you got a couple extra entries, and man, we got a stack full of them when we were pulling the entries out, and it made me pretty happy. And this was our first international winner, so welcome, Oscar, and congratulations on winning the Airmoto Super Air Pump giveaway. And we really, tell you what, they're a great little unit. I use the thing every day. I truly do. It is without a doubt. Now, will it do cars? Yes, it'll do cars, but will it? I would say if you're flat, it's going to take a while. We'll do it. But for motorcycles, man, it just is perfect for motorcycles and bicycles and stuff like that. Let's see. Signifies it. Cheers. Don says, okay. Patrick says the transmission on the 650 is so sweet. It is. It's really smooth, and you'll see this in this video as I'm talking. Like I said, there's very few edits in this one, not like I normally do. Basically, I wanted to get on the motorcycle and just talk what was coming into my mind as I'm riding down the road, my very first time on one. I never even sat on one before. And so when they offered me to take it home, like I said, my Himalayan is still up there. And when they offered to let me take it home for a few days, and I asked them when they wanted it back, and they said, well, unless somebody buys it. So again, I'm not a salesperson, but if you're interested in the bike after you see the video on Wednesday, you can contact those guys up there at Mid-Ohio Power Sports. They're great people. I think Blaine can appreciate that, or can second me on that. Blaine, put it down in there, what you think of the dealership. I know he just bought a red Meteor 350, and he's really excited about it. So let's see. Having troubles getting miles up on the bike. Everyone wants to stop and chat. Well, that could possibly be. Tom said, just become a Patreon. Hey, well, let me, I can check real quick. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, hey, it did. It said he just became a Patreon. Excellent, excellent. Welcome, Tom. And everybody say big thanks to Tom being a new Patreon. That really makes us happy. We love having our Patreons, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, Andrew says, I'm late to the party on vacation. Mexico is so glad I have to service to watch it. Well, thank you, Andrew, and welcome. And have a good time down in Mexico. Taking the Himalayan around Lake Michigan in June and stopping at RE headquarters in Milwaukee. Fantastic. You have to let us know how that goes. RCS says 70-year-old Harley fat boy rider for the past 15 years, thinking of downgrading a bike to Royal Enfield Twin, probably Interceptor or Super Meteor, or release soon. Opinion. I love my Harley Davidsons, man, and I love my Royal Enfields. You have to. These questions are the only ones that are answered by you. But I would tell you this: more and more older Harley riders are looking towards these smaller bikes. Blaine and I had this conversation at the food truck just the other day because it's the same kind of thing. I mean, I'll never sell my Road King, and I mean, even though my knees are shot and everything else, it's just so much easier to throw a leg over that Meteor and keep on riding. You know, a lot of guys go on to trikes now, but unless you absolutely have to, I want 2 wheels, not 3. Or in what do you call it in Germany, 3. I want 2 wheels, not 3. And so again, ride, get how you feel it yourself, and that'd be the best thing. If you come from a Harley and you want that same cruiser feeling, then obviously the Meteor would be more of your familiarity, and that'd be the way I look at it. Say Blade says amen about Mid Ohio. Andrew says, hoping to get the Continental GT for my next bike. That's awesome, Andrew. Let us know if you do. They are fantastic motorcycles so far. And I guess I say so far. I don't do a review until I have 1,000 miles in this, and I probably will not get that in this. No, I guarantee I won't. That wouldn't be fair to those guys up there. I'm going to ride it, but I'm not going to ride a lot. I'm going to put it through its paces the way I normally do and make videos. Like, I didn't do a review on the Meteor until we had over 1,000 miles on it. And even though we'd had it for a month or so, I'm not going to have this bike a month. I'll have it maybe a week and a half, and that's all I'll have it. But we really, really do appreciate each and every one of you guys talking about this bike and what people are saying about it. These motorcycles from Royal Enfield, like I mentioned, with that oil test that I did on that video here a week ago, or was it Wednesday? It must have been Wednesday. They're such a different motorcycle. And if you've ever had like the old Bullet 500, they're completely different. They're built better, they're tighter. The warranties are fantastic, and I think they're up and coming, not only in the American market, but obviously they cruise in the world market as well too. So this is what it is. I know in England they were the best-selling. The Meteor, I think, was the best-selling motorcycle in the United Kingdom. Home of Triumph. Let's see. Matrix says, love mid-size, smaller capacity bikes because I can use their full potential. I can't. That's what we were talking about earlier, Patrick. I'm glad you can reaffirm that. That you can ride these bikes to their full potential without worrying about killing yourself. And you know, the older we get, me speaking for myself, the more I'm realization that I'm not as quick as I used to be. One thing I noticed on this bike, and I'm not saying it's the thing from the Continental, and you'll see it in the video on Wednesday, but that the clutch was angled down, but the brake was angled up. And I'm not sure if, I guarantee you that wasn't something that happened from the factory. I think that the previous owner maybe moved it for his own personal likes, and I have to bring that down because I trail brake, particularly on that kind of bike in the corners. And I need to have that easy access to that front brake. Brakes are probably more important, no, not more important, as equally important to me riding as the clutch is. And I'm going to ask a question here because I don't know how many people have really gotten a good lesson in riding motorcycles. How many know or don't know what the friction zone is? Put it down here in this chat. I'm curious because I've talked to a lot of people, have no idea what I'm talking about. And these guys have been riding for a long time. Do you know what the friction zone is in a motorcycle? Please put it down here in the comments. Let's see. Motor Num Num said, I do appreciate you riding for some time before offering opinion. They really do need to. Exactly. You know, there's 2 people I can't stand. Guys that just look at bikes' numbers and give them a review, and guys that get on it and do a test drive for 10, 15 minutes and give a review. No, you cannot do that because things change. The familiarity you have with the motorcycle, there's little quirks with every motorcycle that you're going to have. I mean, I still struggle with the daggone turn signal. That's one of the reasons why I make a joke about it. Hey, I turn my turn signal off and have some kids applauding me because, I've been riding Harleys pretty much for the last 25 years, almost exclusively, and they have automatic signal canceling. And so when I'm on a different bike, you'll see that little green light going on. And I'd be getting people all the time giving me crap about it. It's like, hey, I forgot to turn signal. I said, yeah, I know. I'm so used to having it automatic. So it's one of those same things. You have to be familiar with it. And now I'm better, but I still make a crack about it. Hey, I turned my turn signal off. So if you guys are new to the channel and you wonder why I say that all the time, because that's why I say it all the time. Tom says, saw a sign T. I'm not sure what that means, but you can come back with that if you want or not. Just bought the air pump after watching your video. Being so small, it's perfect for taking with you in your backpack. Probably the most important thing to pack. You know, Peter, I carry it with me in my Olympia jacket that I wear this time of year in particular. It fits in the pockets, man, and no problem. But if I'm on Himalayan, it's in the panniers. I bought one for Iron Lady, and she's got one in her car. And so it works. I mean, those things they're spectacular. And again, I check my air every day anyways now, particularly in this time of year, because the temperatures fluctuate so much that I want to have the proper air pressure. And if you guys don't know, if you ever experienced a tank slap, a lot of times if you've got severely deflated or under pressured tire or even overinflated tire, you can get some front end wobble. And that's what you don't want to have. See, up here in Canada, we have the American RE models. A mile per hour sometimes messes with my wife. Yeah, well, metric messes with me all the time. Saw the sign today. Your ego is not your amigo. Exactly, there you go. Bohemian Eagle says, how would you rate the bike for tall riders? Which bike? If you're talking about the GT, I'm over 6'2". I don't know how tall you are, BE, but it fit me. That Continental GT fit perfect, man. In fact, I was commenting in my video how I thought maybe my legs were going to be cramped, but the indentations of the tank actually fit me really well. You can tell this bike was more designed in England than it was in India. And you can tell that by the way that you sit on it. Motor says, yep, it gets taught in licensed training here in Australia, which is good. I'm glad that they do, because you'd be surprised people have no idea what the friction zone is. Don, yes, since I passed them. Hey, congratulations, Don. Everybody say congratulations to Don. She just passed her, I'm not saying just, but she went to the class, and I really encourage everybody. Iron Lady and Ems, which is our daughter, took the classes together, and I mean, I've never taken a class simply because back in the day, man, you would just take your motorcycle over there when you were 16 years old, and you rode it, and they passed you. That was it. That was back in the day. Friction zone is motorcycling 101 if you take the class. Exactly. Friction zone, letting clutch out until barely engaging. I use the friction zone, well, especially coming down my driveway. And if you guys have watched my past driveways, you'll see that that enables me to literally crawl without using too much brake, except in extreme ice. And we've had videos on that as well, too. See, slow moves, maneuvers are perishable skill, need the perfect clutch control. Exactly. And that's what a lot of people have problems. I see stuff all the time. I used to be a member of a lot of these Facebook groups. I've kind of backed off on them because it's more or less guys will ask a serious question and you get a bunch of smart aleck answers, which that's not what those are supposed to be for. You know, you're not a comedian, dude. I'm not a comedian. I'm just funny looking. But the reality of it is, I think that I've seen a lot of those questions about guys dumping bikes, and because they're not using the friction zone, doing slow maneuvers, or they're hitting that front brake in the middle of a corner. Oh, I see that all the time. Anytime I watch, and I watch constantly, and I don't know why I do, but I do. It must be the OCD in me. But I watch guys come up to a stoplight, and they got both of their feet hanging out, getting ready to duck walk when they come to a stop, and they're using just that front brake to spring them to a stop. That drives me insane, because if you get a slick patch or you turn your boop, I don't know. Miss Kitty said, didn't know what it is, but I was called, but you use it apparently. Yeah, you have to, Kitty, when you're doing slow maneuvers, because what it does is puts power to that rear wheel and keeps that thing moving as opposed to just coasting. And using it when you're doing slow turning maneuvers will actually keep you upright. And I think that's the most important. And it is like none says there that it's perishable skill that needs the perfect clutch control. It really, if you're not used to doing it, he's always laughing big HD duck walk when exactly. So you did hit the nail on the head. Didn't finish reading your story there, but yeah, you're exactly right. It drives me crazy. Keep your feet on the daggone pegs until you come to a full stop. And then, using your brake on your right foot now. And I say now because it used to be reversed for all us old guys. Let's see, Chad says congrats. Don says thanks. Peter says, have you seen the belt drive system now available on RE Twins, available in India? No. I would never have a belt on the Himalayan. It would drive me insane. The Meteor would be cool. I wouldn't want it in the Interceptor or the GT either. Belt would be good for the cruiser styles. I just, if it's more like the British, I want the chain. If it's off-road, I would never want a belt. In fact, if you're going to take a scrambler and make a scrambler out of a Sportster, get rid of the belt, because the first time you get a stick, it's going to, or a rock up under that belt, and it's a pain in the butt, man. And be honest with you, I like chains off-road. That's what I've always used, and that's what I will always use. On my wide glide, the belt is not going to be on there. I'm going to put a chain drive on the wide glide. I like the chain. Oh, looks like we froze for a little bit. Hope we come back. But I think, and I debated putting the chain on my 1200. I want more instant response, and I think the chain gives you better response on that rear wheel. That's just me. Any other questions? Let's see. How long have we been running, man? Oh, over an hour. Don says, belt drive. I want an RE650 or Himalayan, but someone has a Buell Blast for sale. Buell Blasts are great little motorcycles. There's nothing at all wrong with them. Belt is different. Shaking is intimidating. Thanks for mentioning the belt versus chain. Pleasure. Like I said, it depends on where you're riding. If you're just going to be a street rider or of a cruiser style, then of course the belt is fantastic. I mean, it's been working for Harley for since the 80s or 70s. It really, I mean, it's nothing wrong with it at all. I still like chains. And you know, like I said, if you look at actually, I was going in the garage today. We were doing some work. Iron Lady's birthday's coming up soon, so we had to put new license on all of her stuff, her bikes and her vehicles. And we were up there doing that. And I was looking at them going, man, all these motorcycles makes me feel like I did 15, 20 years ago. It makes me feel better. I like having a lot of motorcycles in the garage and being able to take anyone I want out. And I want to add more. One of the things I didn't put in the video for Wednesday is going to be when I was riding the bike, I pulled it out because it sounded a little bit goofy, but I'm going to say it here. I really enjoyed that Continental GT in my first experience with it, and I said I want all the things that the Royal Enfield makes. Chain gives positive drag. Yeah, exactly, Richard. That's exactly why I like it on those things. But when you're cruising, it's not the big deal. But if you want instantaneous response, get rid of the belt and put a chain on it. None says belt also suffers from power loss from the engine. Chain is the most efficient. That's why I like it, particularly on high performance bikes. Like I said, I was really torn on putting it on the 1250 Sportster, but I got a really pretty, I know, a really pretty chrome pulley for the back that for next to nothing, and I just had to put it on. So that's why that's the only reason I kept the belt on it, to be honest with you. That's the only reason I kept the belt on it. What a reason, right? And I'm turning red because of that stupid thing. But is there any other questions, guys, before we end the video for tonight? I haven't. Chad's on here and Tom's on here and all the. I tell you, a lot of new people today, and it makes me happy. Is there any other questions? And again, thank you, Tom, for becoming a new Patreon member. We really do appreciate that. That just makes us extremely proud of our crew, basically. And like I said before, this is the new crew sticker. We're really excited about it. The guys out there that have it already always tell me how good a quality it is. We do have some little ones that I give away just on the street, but they're not crew, and they're just pretty much inexpensive ones, but they're still higher quality. And that's the new logo. We still have a few of our Generation 1 videos, or not videos, but stickers, and when these are gone, they'll be gone forever. Same price as the other ones if you want to buy one or if you want to donate here. But we still have a few of these left. And of course, this has been one of the most popular ones on Etsy, is our Chill to Ride. This is, I mean, it's kind of a biker guy type of thing, but we really get a kick out of these. These are something we really get a kick out of. So we made quite a few different ones. Pete says, thanks for the chat. I'm coming in late. Really enjoyed it. Well, thank you, Pete. We really, as Michael says, he's late to the party. Work. Yeah, I know. I hate that. I wish we were all rich. Dennis says, I'm glad to actually be able to make the live video. And we're glad you are too, Dennis. We really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I'm going to ask everybody a favor to kind of help us grow. We'd like to get at least 20,000 subscribers by the end of this year. That's just under 7,000 more subscribers. So if you know anybody that rides bike, talk them into subscribing, and that'll help as much as anything. The more views that we get, the more the more the better the videos we can make. Like I say, I talk about Patreon, I talk about selling stickers. That's the way, and you guys like Chad and Andy Signified, and now Peter and Thomas and Blaine, and all you guys that have been members of the channel, either through YouTube or through Patreon or through the Subscribe Star, or just buying stickers through Etsy. Every bit of money we get, we put right back into the channel. We don't take anything from it. I'm not buying motorcycles with this stuff. That's the food truck money and stuff that I earn on my regular job. Everything else goes back into this channel, so we're able to support what we're trying to grow here. And I want to be able to do this in the next couple of years full time, and that way I can make even more and better videos for y'all. Richard says, thanks, old man. Company ride safe, everybody. Thanks, Richard. We really appreciate it. Motorbike says, I can highly recommend the Royal Enfield 650 Twins, and that's great, Motorbike. We really appreciate you saying that. They, like I mentioned before, I did a test ride on the Interceptor, but I didn't make a video on it because I will never make a video on a 10-minute ride. It's just not going to happen. That doesn't tell you anything. It really doesn't. You need time in the saddle to feel what the bike is going to feel. And like I mentioned earlier, my pet peeve is people that don't ride and just use numbers. I'm not a numbers guy anyway. I could guess two craps of what horsepower numbers. I do like torque numbers because that'll tell me what I'm going to be doing in lower speeds and things like that. But as far as other numbers and things like that, I would much rather let my heart and my mind tell me what that motorcycle's like. Because a lot of guys overlook motorcycles because of numbers. They heard, or their buddy said, well, it only has this amount of horsepower, so it can't be any good. How can it be any good? Well, you miss out on an whole series of motorcycles. That's crazy. Blaine says, see you Wednesday. Sure enjoy watching and participating. I will work on expanding the crew. Thanks, Blaine. We really appreciate it. And yeah, really, that really makes us happy. We really want to have a channel that's open for everybody all over the country, all over the world, all kind of different motorcycles. We're not, there's a possibility of us riding other brands as well too down the road. Right now, my relationship is really strong with Royal Enfield, and I really appreciate it. And like I said, and I will be with Royal Enfield as long as they'll have me. I really do enjoy the company. I like what they're doing. I like their maintaining simplicity of design. That is probably the most important thing to a guy who's been working on motorcycles for over 50 years. Well, guys, if there's no other questions, I'll hold her here for another 2 or 3 minutes to see if there's any other questions. I really want to hear from you. We did some shout outs earlier. Like I said, we wanted to thank Andy there for that fantastic super chat that he gave us. And we also want to thank Thomas there for becoming an Ol Man Ronin crew member, a first mate crew member here right away, and as far as on Patreon, and that made me extremely happy. Miss Kitty says good night all. And we really appreciate Miss Kitty being on. She's a member of our YouTube and Patreon as well too. And we want to make sure we have special thank outs to all you guys. You don't know how much it means to Iron Lady and I that really do appreciate having this kind of relationship with our friends all over the world. It does make us feel good. Well, if there's no other questions, we're going to turn this on and see if anybody knows what this means. That's right, guys. We're going to shut her down. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I hope everybody's having a great rest of their weekend and a good week coming up. Make sure you check out this new video. You're going to really enjoy this time machine video that we're talking about. And until next time, guys, ride safe. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, and of course comment, because I will read every comment. I'll comment as many as I possibly can. But again, ride safe and keep her on 2 wheels, baby. See you next time. Wow, Chad, thank you, man. Chad always comes in, baby. Woo! Thank you, Chad. Really appreciate you, brother. You are the best. No question, you are the best. Everybody have a good night.